Okay, today we're going to create a bar chart program using loops. So let's read this real quick. It says you will create a program that displays a bar chart to compare sales for 5 different stores. Okay. Get my pen out. So the stores, you're going to enter store 1, store 2, store 3, store 4, and store 5. This is the sales that they have in whatever period of time, okay? You should pass the 5 different store sales values into set num stars, okay? So you're going to have, I would just call it sales 1, sales 2, sales 3, sales 4, sales 5. Okay, so we're also kind of getting to the point where you guys should be able to write this without doing those 4 boxes. I can do that, but I think for the videos I'm just gonna stick with just thinking through this instead of doing that whole thing. All right, so in the set num stars method, calculate how many different, because it tells you here's your set num stars method and there's your display stars. That's another method. Those are the 2 methods that you're going to use. But anyway, set num stars method, calculate how many different stars you will need in each row. Hint, a star represents $100 in sales. If you have 1,000 in sales, you will have 10 stars. So your num stars, or maybe we just call it stars, I have to think through this, equals it'd be sales 1 divided by 100, okay? And that's going to give you, I don't know, if we had 1,000 in here, 1,000 divided by 100 is 10. That will give you 10 stars, okay? We'll call this num stars 1. But I think I'll just use one variable here. We'll see. Let me get programming here in a minute. But now think about this. Let's say we're going to be working with, we're going to make these integers, all right? So let's say they enter in $950 in sales. 950 divided by 100 in real life is 9.5, right? But these stars are stars on your keyboard. They're the shift 8 button. They come up looking like this, right? I can't make a half of those. Okay, I can't display a half one of those. So if we make these int, we're going to actually cross this off and it'll only be 9 stars. Okay, it'd be 9. All right, not 9.5. Create display num stars method to display the store number vet label followed by the number of stars for the store. Use a loop. The Boolean expression will need to incorporate the number of stars for each store. Your output should look similar to my output below. Now, the loop should be real easy. Once you have your number of stars, so let's say num stars is set to 9, okay? Got our num stars variable. Let's think about this. We would just have for, int I equals 0. I is less than num stars I plus plus, okay? And then we would do some sort of system dot out dot print, and that will print up, if this is 9, it will print up your 9 stars right here. Okay, so this should be a pretty easy program, all right? So let's start writing this out. So new project, we'll call this main bar chart, and call it bar chart. Okay, so there's main. We need to import java.util.scanner. Scanner, my scanner equals new scanner. Okay. We should have 5 variables here. We'll call them what? We want to call them. Let's call them int sales 1, sales 2, sales 3, sales 4, and sales 5. Okay, we'll have our bar chart. We'll just do that there because they didn't ask for anything to be thrown into the constructor, so we can do that there. Next, system.out.println. In this program, I'm going to do a lot of copying and pasting because there's just a lot of repetition. Enter today's sales for store 1. And we could say sales 1 equals my scanner.next int. Okay, so let me Control C, Control V. All right, so we'll next make store 2. All right, so now we got all of our different stores. And then we got to call our setNumStars method that will pass in what? Sales 1, sales 2, 3, sales. Okay, that will set all of our sales and set up our stars. And then just call this a display num stars. Okay. Pretty easy so far. Got errors here because we haven't created anything yet, and we'll get started on that. Public void set num stars. It accepts int sales 1, int sales 2, int sales 3, int sales 4, and int sales 5. And I am going to put these on separate lines. So what do we got here? So we'll say my sales 1 equals sales 1. My sales 2 equals sales 2. My sales 3 equals sales 3. Okay, we gotta create some, define the my sales. So int my sales 1, my sales 2, my sales 3, my sales 4, and my sales. So that defines them. It looks good. And now we're gonna have to do the number of stars. So int, we'll just call this num stars 1, num stars 2, num stars 3, 4, and num stars 5. So that's going to equal to sales 1 divided by 100. And I forgot to put the word my in front of it, so my. All right, so that will give you the number of stars you got for each store. Okay. All right. So next one, public void display num stars. Let me just make sure I spelled everything right. Yep. All right. Let's do this. Actually, let's test this first. All right. Sorry, this is a bit time consuming, but it'll help you out with error checking later on. Because if you got an error and you're looping stuff, then you got big problems. And this will make sure that everything is good. So we'll just do something easy. We'll say 1,000, 900, 800, 700, and 600. So it should be 109876. Okay, cool. So that works. So I can delete that now. But that's good error checking right there. When I was a coder, my old mentor always said, you know, you got to always be able to control your code. So you don't necessarily know what these variables are until you display them to the screen and you actually control it. You know what the variables are. So, sorry about that. Something just fell off my desk. All right, so here you go. We're going to create a string variable. Call it string store1. Set to blank. Store. And we also want to create a variable called stars. And to make this fit on the page better, I'm going to delete blank spaces so everything fits on one line really easy. Alright, so we created some variables there and set them to blank. Okay, so watch this. So we're going to say store1, because remember we wanted to display this right here, store1, right? Just a second here. So alright, so let's do this. So store 1 is going to be equal to store 1. Okay. Now we want to do our for loop that we talked about. We'll say int I equals 0, and I is less than the num stars 1, I plus plus, and we will set our stars plus equal to a blank star. So I did it a little bit differently. I'm not going to do the system.out.println. I'm going to do this, I decided. So I'm going to say store 1 plus equals, because they're and then I'll set my stars equal to blank. Alright, look what's going on here. Let's run this once. So we'll say 1,000. Display num stars. Oh yeah, because I didn't display store 1. Sorry about that. Store 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stars. So look at this. So you know what we should do? Let's go back into here real quick. Before we'll do a I just want to create some space between that, and then we'll do a say sales bar chart. And now we'll have that header. We'll have some blank spaces in that header. And then it just won't be all crunched up in here. We'll have some space in here. So anyway, our num stars would be 10, right? Because 1,000, right here, 1,000 divided by 100 gives us 10. So 0 is less than 10, so we add 1 star into the stars variable, which is string. I becomes 1, 1 is less than 10, so then we add another star, and so now we got 2 stars, so on and so forth. All right, so then we have the variable store 1. This will end up having 10 stars in it, which we have, right? And then we have store 1, and then we add the stars to it, and then I blank out the stars so I can use it again. So then we just have our store 1 variable, which is this, okay? Then what's really nice about this is we have our algorithm basically, and now all we need to do is copy and paste. So we can copy all this. Instead of staying store 1, we got store 2, num stars 2, store 2, and we print store 2. And now what I would do is I would test it after each one. So we'll do 1,000, 900, 800, 700, 600, and so now we should have store 1. What did I do wrong? Oh, made a mistake. Need to change that to store 2. Okay, so see how, I mean, copy and paste is easy, but then, you know, you make mistakes. So anyway, this should work now. So 1,000, 900, 800, 700, 600. Okay, so this one had 10 stars and this has had 9. Okay, so let's try not to have the same problem as last time. Okay, so now we're on, that should be 3. I don't know why I put 4 there. This should be 4. Alright, let's try this one now. Alright, where did I screw up store 4? Alright, there you go. There's your bar chart. You can change it up and put different numbers in there, but works pretty good.